Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Working Dragon Mystic and the Magical Coffee Hour. I am Drake. I hope you all are doing well. We are live here on YouTube and on Rumble. Um, so tonight this is actually going to be our last stream for the year. We will be back in 2025, as crazy as that may be. Or I should say the last schedule. If by chance I get a wild hair and a thought, I may pop in. But this is I can, this is the last one. I'm going to try and take some time off, relax, um, enjoy the holidays, if you will. And I suggest and hope you all enjoy your holiday. That being said, few things. First off, don't forget to follow us on YouTube and Rumble, as well as over at Locals. The Locals community is the heart of our community. That's where we all get together. We share ideals. Currently, we're rolling out a Norse Magic course to the local supporters, as well as the Fae Summer Pathworking course, because that one actually kicks off on winter solstice. Of course, you can become a free member over there and still get all the updates and everything of all the happenings. So check that out. And as far as Rumble goes, we are going to try at the new year, we got a podcast for topics that we can't easily handle on YouTube. We're going to pop over there and start doing something over there. But with that said, also we would release a information pre-recorded video on Tuesdays, and then we'd do a live stream on Sunday. And we're going to go back to that because the live streams, they've been a lot of fun. But tomorrow I got a video coming out explaining it all. But I just want to let you all know that we are going back to the older format. I think it'll be easier to get information into the hands of viewers. And ultimately, that's why we're here, ain't it? Of course, I got my coffee here tonight, ready to get rocking and rolling, trying to take some questions. I see we already got people jumping in, both on YouTube and over at Rumble. Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing well. I hope you're enjoying your holiday season, whatever it is you celebrate. We actually got a question already here in the chat. Let's see, Drake, what drove you to share your cult/magical knowledge? To be honest with you, I hate gatekeeping. I think knowledge and information is an amazing thing. One thing I've learned from people who are successful in general, they love to share information. They love it. There's just something about it. Like every person I've ever known who's genuinely successful in any aspect of their life, they love to help other people achieve. And that's just kind of the way I brought up on anything, whatever it was. I was always super excited to have an opportunity to share something. And when it came to the occult, of course, when I first got into it, gatekeeping and all that was kind of the big deal, right? Everybody's all up your ass about it. And it never set right with me. Never set right with me. Now, I do understand there's certain very specific traditions where the tradition, it's initiatory tradition, but magic as a whole doesn't fit that category. So I respect the tradition where, they've got their rites, their rituals, their specific tradition. That makes absolute sense to me, right? Not to make light of it, but it's almost like a club, whatever the club is, whatever the group is. If you got to be a member of the club to get in, you got to be a member, right? I get that. I understand that. Got nothing against that. But magic as a whole, the elitist mentality that came with it bothered me. And as I started to see more and more success and the massive changes in my life, it honestly got to the point where, I was helping people. I was teaching, I was taking on students where I could, how I could, as best I could. And it wasn't a lot of students at first, I don't guess. But my wife finally suggested, because y'all know we're military, we move a lot. So when we moved, it's like everything I set up just went. And she suggested I do a YouTube channel. She's like, you could record the videos, you could record your lessons, and you could reach more people, help more people that way. And I remember even joking. I was like, yeah, who knows? Some dumbass might even monetize me. I didn't actually think it'd work. I'll be honest with you. So here I am. It's just been a great way to share that information because, like I said, I love to have the ability to help other people. So yeah. Oh, we got a question over on Rumble too. Maybe it's a question. Hold Hi, Drake. Is there a way to purchase a digital version of the Dragon's Eye seal from the merch store? Not currently. Um, Claw, let me look into that because I do know they have like digital products, and weirdly, it has never crossed my redneck technology allergic brain to do a digital version of it because we do have the canvases and the stickers. It never crossed my brain to do a digital for somebody to put on their phone or on their computer to use. And that would be freaking amazing because, again, you all know I like having something that, um, like people like just like the candles, in the meditation course and stuff. I know people can't have open flames in certain locations, so I try to make something available for them. So that would be easier for people going on deployments for sure. I mean, wouldn't be much easier than a sticker, but it is a secondary option. I will look into that for you, Claw. I, I want to say it's possible to do. If not there, I might have to do it at the online school, but I'll see what I can do for you. Give me a couple weeks. And admin, if you're here, remind me to look into that for him. So yeah, I'll look into that. And second question was, P.S. I want to know if you will write a biography or is it an autobiography? I don't know what's the proper biography. And it's never really crossed my mind, to be honest with you. I don't really know what to say about me. Like, weirdly, I'm great at telling stories, but if you actually get me to sit down and talk about me, I don't think the things I've done is very impressive. I'll be honest with you. In fact, if you pay attention to how I tell stories most of the time, it's more reflecting on my friends as opposed to what I was actually doing at the time. Um, so that thought's never crossed my brain, to be honest with you. I don't know if that wild hair will ever take or not. I don't know. Many of you probably saw though that I did post recently over at Locals in the Discord and here on YouTube about the concept of me and Katrina and Raven and everybody were together and talking, and they were talking about a kind of Tao of the Valentine, which Tao kind of means the way of, or way of life, way of thinking, those kinds of concepts. And I laughed it off. I thought they were absolutely joking, and when I was laughing at them, I got that look. Any of y'all ever insult a lady, you know the look. Both Raven and Katrina shot me the look at the same time. I was just glad it was over, like a video chat. But at the same time, I realized they were actually very serious. But even after getting the look, I didn't take it serious. I actually had to go. It was afterwards, probably an hour later. I'm doing dishes or something in the kitchen. I forget what I was doing. And I got to rolling it around, and I was like, that's actually not a bad idea. That could be something. It could be a great way to honor my old mentor and stuff. And that is something I'm considering. It's kind of more of a philosophies, a viewpoint, a window on how I see the world. I'm wanting to attempt to get a few others who fall into that kind of Valentine mentality a little bit to see if they'll put in on it. I don't know if they will or not. And potentially put together kind of that. And it really fits in with our Mage Minded series perfectly that everybody loves. So that I've considered, but I don't think that counts as a biography in any shape, form, or fashion. That more, it's like just a kind of a little insights or wisdom-y kind of thing. So that's something I thought about. Because I do not know how a biography of a redneck wizard would turn out. Eden, good to see you. Matthias, welcome. Kenny, welcome. We got more people jumping in. Rainbow, good to see you. Shar, thank you. Glad you like the hat. Immortal, welcome back. I like the video about 17 goals you have for success. Thank you. I actually enjoyed doing that. That's another thing I want to tell y'all. Oh, not only are we switching back to the old format where we'll have the Tuesday video and the Sunday live streams, because everybody seems to like Sunday better for live streams. Fine with me. But not only are we switching back to the old format, one thing I want to talk to you all about, and we might do a deep dive into this in one of the roundtables or something at some point, but we had a power outage, and I talked to some of the local members on this one a little, but we had a power outage. I want to say it was last weekend. So it was like 16, 18 hours, no power. Now, don't say, oh God, I'm sorry. We had fun. We had fun. Okay. I'm that guy when the power goes out, you don't need to worry about me. I got it covered. It can be 30 below outside. We're good. I was raised to be prepared for this. But so we had fun. But one of the things I ended up doing was going into the office and going through old journals. And when I say old journals, I mean really old journals. And like, I think I put them all over there again. But I was reading through some of the old research I did before I ever started this channel. And some of that research was some of my path workings with the Norse and Azazel. And I got to see, that real hunger that I was having for progress in life and my workings and applying those workings to my life. And, those things that really became almost the philosophy for this channel. Because who here remembers the original opening to my videos in this channel? Anybody remember that? Welcome to Working Dragon Mystic, where we discuss real metaphysical and occult knowledge so that you can manifest real intangible results in your life. I want to get back to practical. I really do. I really want to dive real heavily back into practical, applicable magic. And that is the stuff that for me is absolutely fun. That is like the meat of it. It's so good. And I realized for the longest time, I've been off here researching things that it's interesting to know, but it has no practical application to my day-to-day life. And it sucks because it's like somehow I just lost that hunger to improve, that hunger to strive, that hunger to drive forward. And I told my wife, I want to be hungry again. I really do. I want that hunger. And like I said, that just came back to, this channel was built on that practical. You can go apply it today and see if you get results. And I really want to get back into that. I really, really do. So looking into next year, get ready for more practical, applicable videos. And like earlier today, I actually recorded one video that's telling, you guys get to see the in-depth video. I talked about what we're getting ready to do for the next year. But I also recorded, which actually I think it comes out on Christmas Eve. So Tuesday on Christmas Eve, we will actually have a first old school video, which, by the way, I've not recorded in such a long time. I've been live that like all the nerves just came back to me, people. So bear with me getting back into the groove of recording. But I did the 38th Spirit of the Goetia, old school style. Was able to flash the sigil up on the screen, was able to put the on the screen. And it kind of felt good, even though I was nervous as hell to get back up there and start recording, looking at that camera, trying not to screw up. And I did screw up. But we got it done, right? And I'm really looking forward to getting back into the groove of being able to record without freezing up, and B, getting that practical application magic going again. Gods, I've missed it. I really have. It's just one of those weird things. Claw, sounds good. No problem. Claw, always happy to help. When exactly is the Discord link? Where exactly is the Discord link? It should be pinned toward the top. Immortal or any admin, if you're here watching this, can you post a fresh Discord link on locals and pin it to the top and make sure it's set to stay there until removed? Okay, if you could, I'd appreciate that. That way, Claw or anybody in here can go over to locals and it'll be pinned at the top of the thing. That would be appreciative. So Claw, we'll see if we can take care of that. I think Immortal's here, so I think he can handle it. So look for the post, mate. Look for the post. Give him a minute or three. He might be at work or juggling children. Let's see. To do. So I knew I like. Yeah, the 17 goals to success one. I really enjoyed that one. Someone said it reminded them of. It's a book. I think it's Jordan Peterson, 12 Rules to Life, or something like that. Um, which I got a hold of the book and I started reading, and I think I got through the first chapter before I got distracted. You ever get distracted? It happened to me. So I can't say how well it lines up. Um, but I was enjoying at least the first chapter. So I might actually sit down this week where I'm taking like the week off for the holiday. There's a couple days where my wife has watch. I may actually sit down and read through that and compare and contrast and see what I think. I've heard good things about the book. I've heard a lot of good things about the book. I know he's like one of those figures people get all uppity and controversial about, but every time I've heard him speak, I've not really had an issue with him. I know he has no problem pushing buttons, but then in this world, you say hi and you've offended somebody. So, okay. Immortal says he has pinned a link to Locals Claw, so check it out. Let me know if you can find it. We got that for you. Happy holidays. Yeah, so I'm going to be reading through that and see, and who knows, I may actually talk about some of those chapters. I think one of the chapters is Stop and Pet the Cat, which that one just made me think of my wife. Absolutely. And I haven't read it, but I really want to read that chapter. I want to know what that has to do with anything. Um, Anyhow, moving on. um, See, as Matthias remembers that, we're going right back to the old intro. I'll be honest, when I recorded the Goetia video today, I used it. It felt good to do it. It really did. And the talking skull. I'll be honest with you. The talking skull intros, I don't know if those will come back. Those were fun for a time, but Bornoldus did the voice of the talking skull for me. He did an amazing job. The only thing is, like, Born gets really super perfectionist. He does. Honestly, I think he could have a future as a voice actor potentially, but he's a perfectionist. So getting him to record a short snippet it took us about 4 hours to get a short snippet. I love him to death. He's a great friend. Bornoldus, if you see this, man, I'm not taking jabs at you, but for as good a voice actor as he is, and he is a perfectionist, so there's nothing wrong with trying to get it right. There's really not. But I'll be honest, I don't know if y'all know this about me. I'm not a patient man. I'm not a perfectionist, especially when it comes to digital stuff. And I'm just like, dude, you've like had it beyond what I thought we were going to get for hours. Can we just cut and go? Oh. Oh, it was funny though. Um, let's see. Let's see. Aiden, I'm aware of Immortal's time management. I'll tell you, Immortal and Jade both. I don't know how they do it. I really don't know how they do it. And with us moving MCH back to Sundays, that means we'll see Jade in the chats again more. So that's something I think a lot of people's looking forward to. Well, I'm glad y'all like the old intro. Hey, I liked it. See, Matthias, I go back and watch the old videos all the time. Yep. Rainbow, I enjoyed the talking skull while it lasted. Yep. I've actually wondered if there was a way. Like me and Bourne's getting ready to do a podcast on Rumble. We're going to try and do it on Wednesdays. There's part of me that's actually wondered if I could set it up so that you see a picture of the skull instead of him at least one episode, and see if he could just stay in character the whole freaking episode. He'd kill me, but it crossed my mind. Oh man. Let's see. All right. Yeah, that's the general gist of what we got going. For those who don't know, right now for Locals supporters, if you sign up at Locals, there's a free level, And then there's a paid supporter. For the paid supporters, we are rolling out the Summer Fae Pathworking. Everything's posted to get you started right now because that pathworking does start on the winter solstice, which is the 21st. So be ready if you're interested in that. Go over to locals, and you can get access to that. And we're going to continue rolling it out all the way up to the summer solstice so you can work completely through it. And my goal is to actually roll out the winter pathworking that starts on the summer solstice at that time. But that is currently for supporters only. So supporters are getting early access to that. When I say early, this material, they're actually working through a functional pathworking before its final refinement. And the final refinement is hopefully going to make it to the online school before next Yule. That's when it would be released to the public. Same thing with the winter. So, that's what we're looking at. And we're also currently rolling out a Norse Magick pathworking to the paid supporters. That being said, to the free members, me and the admin has been talking. Everybody's been super busy for the holidays, but I can tell you this. We do have a lot of videos and live streams and stuff over at locals that are planned to discuss. Jade's wanting to get back into her kitchen witch and herb videos and stuff like that. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming in the new year. Everyone's super excited. And me, I'm just, when I had the realization that I wasn't looking where I was going and I need to get back to practical, I got super hyped. I am super excited about it. It's weird because I'm like super excited to actually have like a week or two off and relax and do some reading, maybe play a video game. But at the same time, part of me is like, I could try and record videos during that 2 weeks and get ahead. And yeah, so we'll see what I end up doing and how I choose to end up spending my free time. I'm a perfectionist, and I tried to audition for voice acting earlier in the year. It took me a month to record 6 lines. LOL. I can get it. I can get it. Like one thing I have to do, and I've learned this doing this channel, I can't do it to what I would think is perfection. Because first off, when I'm editing, I don't like the sound of my voice ever, 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 ever. So yeah, there's that. But at the same time, it's like, what's the best way to phrase something? I don't know half the time. So I have tried to cut down pauses and stuff. And like one of the things I'm wanting to do in the upcoming years, I do record. I'm wanting to try and I'm not going to do takes. I'm just going to like record. And if I cut anything out, it's going to be like if my brain just looks at the camera and freezes and there's a big pause. I'll cut that out because no one wants to sit there and look at a Drake go. But other than that, I'm going to try and just keep it uncut and just straight up me. You know what I mean? Because that's one of the things you all like about the lives. It's authentic. It's me. And that's what I'm going to try and do. It's a little terrifying though, because there's a weird difference in my brain for whatever reason and being able to talk to y'all live, because this feels like me talking to y'all just sitting in my office, as opposed to recording it, because recording it feels like more official, more this is meant for people to just get out there and see, and my brain just gets kerbobbled on that one. See, from a far rock away, there is magic on Thor. Thor is a deity. Thor has been used in different rituals and different styles of magic. He's tied in with Norse mythology, obviously. So Nordic rituals, Norse magic, all those definitely. Is there something that's called Thor magic? Not necessarily. Thor magic would be Norse magic, if that makes sense. If I'm understanding your question there right. If I'm not, by all means, let me know. Let's see. We were watching your mead making video while cooking the other night. Have in a while. I'm a guest, and I will do everything to break his character. I act and have fun with that. What? I'm a guest. Okay, that threw me off. I'm actually hoping to get some meets started this week, honestly. Don't forget the Norse path working. Also, yes, it is the Norse. I thought, yeah, I mentioned it. Okay. Yes, the Norse path working is there definitely. Let's see. Perfection is. It honestly keeps you looser because you are talking to. Yeah. That's a huge thing. Like I'm really good at talking with people. Recordings were like it when you're recording, you just remember the camera, right? I forget the camera during live streams. It's very hard to do that because when you're recording, you got to look at the camera because during a live stream, you understand why I'm looking over here or over here because I'm reading the chat logs and stuff. But if I'm just doing this during a whole recording, this makes for a bad video. Let's be honest. So, yeah, it's I've come a long way, and I just wow, I was surprised how rusty I was. But then I looked back. It's been a really long time since I recorded an official video of that style because we were testing the new format and we needed enough analytics to actually see how we were doing and what things were functioning and stuff. Um, I did not realize I'd be that rusty. I did not. Let's see. Will you be doing video on pendulum dowsing, especially on how to become better at it and how to detach ourselves emotionally from the asked question, etc.? Claw, I probably will not. And here's why. First off, I'm not a big fan of pendulums in general because there's no way to detach you from the ideomotor response. And I'm a big results based individual. I'm big on the data. I'm big on, how does this function? And unfortunately for me, I know how the ideomotor response works, and it doesn't even work off emotion. So even if you could completely shut down all human emotions in you, the ideomotor response would still function. And to me, that just makes it a completely unreliable thing. And I've done several experiments over the years to prove the ideomotor response taints and messes with the responses, whether it be on a Ouija board or whether it be with a pendulum. So I don't really use them. And it's one of those things like Jade uses them. She has reasonable luck. I know people that use them. I cannot rely on anything that I can honestly look at and I know how it functions to the point where I know that I can control that with a thought and not and that thought, even if it's what you want, it just messes with it. And it's not one that I'm a fan of. And to be honest with you, after all these years of trying to find a way to remove the human element from the ideomotor response, I've not found anything other than if you were to hang the pendulum from something else, you not touching it, no one touching it, no human touching it, and you tried to douse with it. Problem is, I've never seen anyone move a pendulum like that. That's kind of been the problem. If I ever find a way, I'll let you know. Because I got plenty of friends who still love their pendulums, and they always come to me. Well, can we test this? Can we test this? And I'm a sucker for a good testing, so I'm always happy to help because they want to do. They have their hypothesis. They plug it in. They do their research. They come up with a way to test it, and then they come to me and they want me to see, if it holds up. And that's scientific method, which is honestly one of the things I try to do with magic. And so far, I've not been able to find a good way. Um, so I don't know. Um, I really don't know. I don't have any plans on it at this point. That's the best I can say, and that's because of that ideomotor response. Um, you can definitely look up the ideomotor response if you want and learn more about that. I may do a video on that, possibly, but I don't want to discourage people from trying stuff. Um, so at this time, I don't have a plan for it. That's the best I can say, Claw. My apologies on that one. Um, Da, da, da. Same with us. Yeah, I'm having to try to learn that I'm weird that way and was raised that way. So overcome the perfectionist aspect isn't easy. Yeah, I mean, in a lot of things I do, I am a perfectionist. Like when it comes to technology, I'm not, but in a lot of things I am. Luckily, I know that me and technology, by and large, don't agree and don't get along. Um, but also, there's this weird. I've had a lot of people email me, and a few of them's even mentioned it here in the live streams. That one of the things they like about my videos is I don't do a lot of post production. I'm not really doing anything. Like I'm just sitting in an office. I mean, I don't even have a digital backdrop. The thing's, just a tapestry behind me. And I'm just sitting here and telling you what I have found in my practice, in my research, that kind of stuff. And it's results driven. So, go apply it, go try it, go test it, see if it works. That's what they like. And I want to make sure that authenticity stays there. That's one of the cornerstones, I think. Um, what's that say? Okay, bet. What are you betting? Oh, thank God I got somebody that would explain why I heard the wife laughing when I said that. I'm almost afraid to ask what that means now. Oh, Lord. Just a reminder, folks. I'm over halfway to my normal life expectancy. I'm actually moving up in years. I've cleared my midlife crisis. I don't really know a lot of the modern slangs. My wife probably brushed up more on it because she's in the Navy and has to deal with all the new coming recruits and everything. So yeah, I may have to ask her. Let's see. It's an affirmative statement. Okay, so it means so like 10-4, Roger that. Gotcha. Okay. Um, That's the Eden perks of being Gen Z. I think every generation has their slang. They do. Um, as Gen Xer, like we had some weird stuff, especially coming from the 80s. Woo. So, but that's kind of the thing. You get into that point where the general people you're talking to may use a word here or there, but you don't really keep up with the slang as much. So, hey, the Norse Pathworking is going to be a great one. It really is. It is going to be a lot of good. And that is another one that once it wraps up, we're going to take it, polish it up, and put it over at the online school as well. But if you want to get a sneak peek and early access, paid supporter side. Um, but yeah, I spent a lot of time gambling at poker tables and stuff, so I'm not going to lie. You say the word bet, I think one thing. What do we bet? Kenny Mathias knows I'm the one that will say things raw just to see how it goes. Yeah, depends on what I'm doing. By and large, like if I'm actually trying to communicate or something, I'm good at communicating. At the same time, I'm also that person like I don't really edit myself unless there's a genuine benefit or reason to do so. Um, my friends have pretty much gotten to the point where if Drake hasn't offended you this year, don't worry, he'll get to you. That's just kind of who I am. I'm pretty rough around the edges like that. Um, So yeah, that's and hopefully we can get most of this up and running next year easily. I would like to see the Norse course at the online school next year, if at all possible. Berto, what are my thoughts on APAP? To be honest with you, I don't work a lot with Egyptians. I don't. That's something I've said on this channel quite a bit. I worked with some of the Egyptian entities in Pantheon in the past, but they're almost demand for worship with a lot of them. I just steer clear. Period. I don't do worship. I don't bend a knee. And because of that, I really haven't worked with a lot of them unless it's for a client. And APEP is one I draw no memory of working with, to be honest with you. So I can't really have an opinion. Um, people don't get into religious arguments in the chat, please. Everyone has their beliefs, and everyone has their what they view as a religion or not. And to be fair, there's no way to prove either one. See, what is it? That's the pendulum question. Okay, did get that one. Cool. I do want to let everyone know. So, unfortunately, we weren't able to work out enough people in time to do the ring in the New Year's live stream. I do apologize. Everyone's just completely slammed with family. It's is what it is. I do apologize for that. I was hoping we'd be able to do it, but it don't look like we're going to. So my apologies, but I did want to let you all know in case you. Hopefully, you guys weren't planning your night around it because the idea was people could pop in and out as they needed, but. See, Aiden, things relating to spirit work can be difficult or impossible to verify, which is always sad. I would say, currently speaking, I don't know of anything that's verified anything about it, period. Weirdly enough. Like, I've even gone to these little psychic fairs and stuff, and every time I go, I make a point to who I'm traveling with. Both of us will set our aura to a very specific color, a very specific look, and all that. And you go up, and there's usually a booth where they will show you a picture of your aura. And I'm always very clear to ask them, does this show a general representation or is it specific? And they always like, oh, it's very specific. I was like, so if my aura has a color, a specific color, to show that? Absolutely. Not one of these people have ever shown me what the aura was looking like. None of them. And that kind of stuff just bothers me. Again, that's like why I think it was in another live stream where I said take everything almost as entertainment value, because that's what I do. So let's see, Matthias, not sure, but there may be a misunderstanding here. Maybe not. I'm just making sure we don't start something. Actually, there's different references of what was or was not the first dragon. And as someone who works with Tiamat, She's even made the claim that she wasn't the first dragon. To the Sumerians, Tiamat wasn't even an actual dragon. So there's also a lot of different things there, depending on which lore you look at. And Sumerian culture, we already have archaeological evidence that there were cultures predating Sumerian. So even what we understand in the fossil record is changing. Sorry, that's the problem with a lot of religion. When you build everything up on a specific, this has to be the only way, or this is the origins of all things. It's fine and dandy, but we also quickly find through a fossil record or other things that that's not the case. So, we just don't know for sure. And that's why I always tell people keep an open mind. So, yeah. Have a good night and happy holidays, Far Rockaway. Let's see. Matthias, some good news on my end, starting some vacation time, and I'm planning to use most of it to focus on the meditation and classes. Ooh, now that's pretty good use for vacation time. That really is. That is not bad at all. Good luck to you, mate. Good luck indeed. Assuming you believe in the Anunnaki, which a lot of people don't. Again, I'm not going to have a religious debate with people on here. Every religion thinks their thing is the highest thing that is. You want to debate religion, go to a channel that's for religion. This is not a religion channel. I put nothing at the top. How many classes are you trying to work on, Matthias? I just realized you said meditation and classes. Because are you working on the meditation course? Or are you working on like meditation course and another course? Or don't try to overdo it, dude. Don't try to overdo it, even on a vacation, mate. Try not to overdo it. Let's see. Did my first contact evocation the other night, had some success with it, and saw Peralta briefly. Cool. Congratulations. Congratulations. I love to see when people are making progress in their path. I absolutely do. And, it probably has been a while, but I will remind people, this channel is about practical magic. We're not pushing a spirituality. We're not pushing a religion. This is a place for anyone of any religion. We got Christians, we got pagans, we got everybody comes to this channel. And I'm not going to tolerate a pissing contest in religions. I don't care who you are. If you can't get along, go stepping. Because I know wonderful people from practically every religion. I can't think of one I don't at this point. But I also know complete shitbags from every religion. Fair enough. Although I thought the whole point was was the subconscious making the pendulum move, ideally without you/your emotions affecting the results. That's the theory. The problem is you can't actually bypass you. You can't remove you from it. The ideomotor response still functions, and you can still make it go where you want. Your thoughts will change it, everything. There's just no way to remove the ideomotor response from it. And it depends on your pendulum theory. Some people say their guides are moving it. Some people say spirits are moving it. Some people say the crystal and the pendulum itself is alive, which I'm sorry, the scientist in me, the crystals aren't alive from a scientific point. So that boggles my mind. It's like I said, it's a divination device I am not a fan of, and it's the science behind it that's my thing. And I also said I got plenty of friends who do use them and get pretty cool results, I even admit. Um, but then when you look at it and ask how, is the data tainted or something, then you got to kind of wonder that. Um, Same thing with dowsing rods. And don't get me wrong, when it comes to dowsing rods, I grew up in the hollers. Like I know people who dug wells based with dowsing rods. I've also dug a lot of holes to nowhere because of dowsing rods. Uh, so anyone old enough to remember Jed clamping his dowsing rod looking for water, I actually know old fellers that did that shit. So, I'm not saying don't try it. It's just I don't know that even if I tried to do the video, I would do it justice, because just like I am convinced that the ideomotor response will taint any pendulum I ever use, I'm afraid that there will be a practical research bias for it. It's one of the reasons it's not a divination I like. And I don't try to knock it. I don't try to make fun of people who use it. But I also don't think I'm the best mage to dive into there. Like when it comes to testing my friends' research and stuff, because they want that scientific view and they want that, critical eye. I'm a good guy for that. But um, I don't know that I'm the right mage for the other side of the fence, if that were. Because removing emotions from a lot of things is very easy for me. Shutting down my emotions is very easy. But I've never been able to bypass the ideomotor response. And I don't know anyone else who has. So that's like you might call it a philosophical difference. I don't know. But there are times when the knowledge of how something functions actually complicates it to the point where magically you can't rely on the data in some ways. And that's kind of where I'm at with that. And that's the problem with a guy like me. I'm a very data results driven person. And all my testing with a pendulum has come out to next to zero, unless I already knew the answer. And every time I know the answer, it's 100% accurate every time. So it's one of those weird oddities. That's why I prefer other divination mediums for me, personally, for me. But if you get great results with your pendulum, keep it up. And if you're interested in pendulum work, keep researching it. Catch Jade in a live stream and ask her, because I know she used pendulums for a while. I think she still uses them, actually. So catch Jade during one of the locals lives that she does, or something like that, or pop into the Discord, and you can even tag her and see if she has any advice. It's one reason I like having admin that have different practices and views than me. We get a broader picture. See, Rainbow, who is your favorite lower rank goetic entity to work with, or who is the most interesting to you? That's I'll be honest with you. When I think of the goetic entities and the ones that I enjoy working with and that are interesting to me, they're not low ranking, honestly. The two that I tend to gravitate toward and enjoy working with the most are Paimon and Belial. Definitely not falling into the low rankings. Um, it's odd because honestly, this day and age, like going through the journals this weekend, which again it kind of upsets me. Oh wait, one of the things I was wanting to show you is here, but I'll show you that in a second. Um, one of the things going through those journals that interested me so much was to see how my practice has evolved and how it's changed over the years. Because there was a point where I'm bouncing around everywhere to do different things, and like there was a when I was path working to go at it, Goetia and everything, I was really aware of everything that these entities could do and everything they were helping me with and stuff like that. And I would constantly go back to them. But over the years, like the more I've got into Norse magic and dragon magic, not that they're superior magics. I'm not saying that. But when it comes to the things that I would go to the Goetia for, I find myself just naturally, reflexively wanting to go to the dragons or to the Norse. And I rarely find myself reaching for the Goetia again. Um, which in some ways saddens me because I had a pretty cool working relationship with those entities for so long. And there's a part of me that, what I enjoyed about doing the Goetic series is that anytime I do it, I always make sure to pop back, say hello, let them know I'm doing the video, those kinds of things. And, every one of them, it's been, great to see. They're happy to see me. How you doing kind of thing. No, there's been no bad blood. And they're, I guess you would say, happy with my growth and progress. But it is weird at the same time to realize that this part that was so much a part of your path at one point, that you as an individual has changed so much that you really don't reach for that today. You know what I mean? Um, and I don't know what to do about that. I don't, because I ain't got the time. I do not have the time in waking hours to constantly stay in touch with every entity I work with. I don't. Uh, I do not. Um, and I think that's one of the things also that is truly amazing about an individual magician's path, right? There's not one road up a mountain. There's not one specific way to do it. We got all be climbing the same mountain, but there's infinite ways to get up this damn mountain. And you got to find what works for you, right? And for whatever reason, because after all these years, I don't fully know why, but I adore dragon magic and Norse magic. And in truth, like when I first got into the occult, like I wanted to avoid dragons at all costs because it's just cliche and it just sounded silly. So anything to do with dragons, I tried to avoid entirely. And yet here I am. And there's so many occult practices and magical practices I adore. Like I've mentioned on the channel, I love ceremonial magic. I like the bits and baubles, but at the same time, it's not as much me. Like when I go to approach it, if a friend invites me to a ritual or something, I can go in, I can do it, I can, and I can utilize the rituals if I'm needing to for a client or if I'm testing something or if I just want to do it for funsies. But when it counts, when it matters, that's not what I reach for. And that's a part of individual practice that's always fascinated me. It's like once you find your groove or your groove finds you, depending on which way it happens, there's a comfort to it. There's a reliability to it. And obviously with path workings and stuff, there's a good reason to get outside your comfort zone. You should always push past your comfort zones for sure. So, even I work with the Fae a lot, but it's weird because as much as I've learned from the Fae, as much as the Fae have taught me, like when it comes to problem solving, I don't really go to the Fae. It's kind of weird. It's one of those just interesting conundrums. I don't think there's really an answer to it, but it's one of those things that for me as a magician who's met and worked with so many different practitioners from so many different paths, It just fascinates me. It's almost like world cuisine. Every area has its own cuisine that evolved from the very people, the very nature, the very way of life, the way they see the world. That's why we like you, Drake, and why I like the community. People like Eden and Immortal. No problem. We do what we can. What's the best way to include dragons in your holiday celebration? That entirely depends on how you celebrate the holidays, but just do a ritual. Honestly, just do a simple ritual and include them in the holidays. I mean, around here, my guardian, my co-magician, pretty much involved in anything we do. We didn't decorate this year, but anytime we do, they would generally get involved in the decorating for better or worse. They will say attempt to help with any holiday cooking. Sometimes they cause more problems than helping. Um, Anytime we turn on holiday music, they love that. You can also leave them a nice little offering, like you would Santa. That's something you can do. If you're looking for more specifics, obviously we got the holiday dragons. We completed that entire series for each of the seasonal holiday dragons. So Yanali would be a great dragon to work with this time of year for holiday celebrations. Hey, just Jim. Good to see you, mate. Let's see. Charnu. People are people are people. People of quality. The same no matter the division. Yeah, people are people. That's pretty true. I would say there are some differences because I've seen some horrible people in my life. Whoa, what happened? We jumped here. Where are we? Oh, Rockaway, I thought you already went to bed. What is this? I didn't get offended about Thor. There's nothing that says anyone can work with Thor. I mean, if there are plenty of racist asshats out there that want to say Norse magic is specifically to this one group. I don't support those racist asshats. I was just specifically stating Norse mythology. Thor is tied in with Norse mythology. I don't care who you are. You can work with Thor. But you want to get offended and read something into something I said that I didn't say, that's entirely your business. And you're more than happy to be offended. Be offended. Guess what happens when you're offended? Nothing. Merry Christmas. Let's see, sums it up well. Yeah, I started with the Goetia, now I'm in Dragon Magic. Um, let's see, Rainbow. I feel that I find it interesting those individuals who connect strongly with the Goetia. I know a lot of people who connect with it. One thing about the Goetia we got to remember is the Goetia are spirits. We've gotten into this modern definition where we want to apply the demon concept and, using the word demon in strictly only the evil viewpoint of it. And using it like that is from a singular religion. Well, maybe not a singular religion, but it's from a religious root. So there is that. That's not to say these entities can't have a dark side. In fact, any entity out there has a dark side. You're not going to find one that doesn't. One of the things I've learned is some of the most painful entities out there are usually also the best healers. So it's one of those little interesting things. Let's see here. People, I mean it. When I say don't start shit in the chat and don't start running your mouth, I mean it. I gave 2 warnings. Strike 3. Bye. Say, Matthias, to your earlier question, Drake, I'm focusing on Dragon Magic 101 and Evocation. Fair enough. Try to make sure you split the practices up enough to make sure you have enough time to focus and take in the information. Okay. Because I know Dragon Magic 101 can be a lot to take in, and so can the Evocation course. So, I mean, they can be worked together, but if you are finding you're having a struggle, shift over to focus on one or the other. Um, and if I had to make a recommendation, I'd say shift over to focus on Dragon Magic 101, mainly because a lot of the lessons and stuff in that course are going to help you with the Evocation course later. Recommendation, not a have to, only a recommendation, if that makes sense. Let's see. Claw, I have faith, mate, that you'll be able to figure it out. I really do. I tell you what, Claw, I will actually reach out to a few of my friends that use a pendulum and ask them the question and see what they say. That's one thing I can do for the pendulum. I've been thinking on that because, like I said, I don't know that I'm the right guy to answer it, but I will ask them and see what they say. Try to answer it from their point of view instead of mine, if that's okay with you, mate. Let's see. Being humble is a great thing to be. A little humbleness goes a long way. It does, and it is good to be humble. People get mad at me for referring to myself as an idiot or dumb or whatever, but I've come out and I say it time and time and time and time again. I don't know everything. I've been wrong. I've had plenty of magical theories and ideals that have shifted over the years, um, due to data and information findings, right? Um, if we're not willing to be wrong, we're not going to grow. You're not going to learn. You have to be willing to be wrong. Um, I think that's one of my biggest problems with religion. As much as I do know it has a value for so many people, for me, religion is every religion almost seems to have its book of truth, and you can't go against that. And I say almost because there have been exceptions to this. And I've had a few conversations with individuals that are fascinatingly discuss when it comes to, like a Christian, it's like, as the archaeological record expands, how do you rationalize that with your belief system? And for them, the book, like this book of truth and wisdom and philosophy, There are parts of it that are almost archaeological timeline, and they can actually match that up with, different things in archaeology. And to say it may not fit perfectly, but at the same time, just like, anything in history, like the medieval ages, for example, I think is the way they said it. It has a bracket. This book contains a bracket, and it doesn't go into heavy specifics of every day of existence, for example. So, when they say, God created the universe, it doesn't say how he created, it doesn't go into the specifics of what's a day to God. And that is a rational thought process that I can understand to many extents. And you see that when we look at any religion. I mean, Norse mythology, they got their creation myth. Um, so throughout every creation myth, I don't know of any of them that are super, super duper specific. And for those that are willing to um, reach outside that and ponder and meditate outside that for a greater understanding, not only of the world they live in, but as this individual said, it gives them a greater understanding of the world they live in, as well as a greater understanding of the wisdoms to which they read and believe, as well as their God. And I've heard a similar thing from a Vitki in the Norse mythologies, which is pretty cool in my mind. See, that's why I find those kinds of things fascinating. Even though I personally am not a religious person, I understand its value. And when you meet those individuals that they understand philosophy and wisdom on a larger scale, not just binding it within inside the covers of whatever book they use. I think that's wise. I guess the word might be wise for that. If that makes sense. And Immortal's throwing clocks at me. Has it really been that long? Oh my God, it has. Okay. Well, let's see if I can get the last bit of these. Let's see. My God pushes me away from trance work recently because they view my use of it as a crutch. Actually, I've had a lot of people tell me that when it comes to trance work. And trance work is one of those interesting practices. Like, that's actually something I'm planning to talk about in the new year as we get back to practical magic and confirmable magic. There are a lot of practices that have become popular because they don't show any confirmable data. And they're popular because then people can just essentially claim they're successful no matter what. And trance work and astral travel and a lot of these are those things. Um, so how we utilize them needs to be taken into some consideration. I don't know fully how to phrase the thought and articulate it just yet, so I'm not going to dive into it because it's something I'm still having conversations with, Odin, Freya, the dragons. I'm actually having a conversation with it on Azazel today. So I'm trying to have conversations about this and get a better understanding of it and be able to articulate it better before I just, drop it out there entirely. Hopefully, sometime soon in the new year, that'll be something we can talk about. I've even considered when me and Bourne do the podcast on Wednesdays, maybe seeing if he wants to approach that topic too. That way I can bring my understanding and perhaps get his viewpoint as well. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Who knows? We may touch on it in a few different places. But yeah, it's one of those that I've actually heard a lot about. But it's, I love astral travel, soul travel, and trance work. Those used to be bread and butter. Um, but at the same time, I could honestly say that trance work, depending on how I applied it, I got some good results. But then a lot of it never made a difference. Um, to my day-to-day life. And that's kind of where the kicker comes in. What is actually making that difference, if that makes sense? It's going to be interesting to see. Let's see, Matthias, I'm working them in the beginning stages to advance my senses and focus and try to be careful with balancing them. I think once I find my guardian dragon, I'll focus more there for a while. Yeah. When you're first finding your guardian and your Comac, really put the focus on them. That really is a huge help to a dragon magic practice. Don't jump around and everything and ignore them. Focus on them to build that relationship. Because when it comes to dragon magic, that is foundational. You don't want to skip on that. All right, everyone, I'm going to have to get off here and go enjoy my evening and weekend. You all have a great night. This has been a lot of fun. Again, reminder, we're going back to the original format. So you'll see a Tuesday video, and Magical Coffee Hour will again be on Sundays. Okay? Sundays. Now, before you ask, no, we're not having one this Sunday because we had this one. Okay? We had the Friday one. So after that, start looking for it. I may take the live streams off until the new year, just like I said, so I can spend some time with my family and get a little bit of rest and recharge, clear some cobwebs in my brain. It has been a long, busy year. And I could use that. So far, every weekend I've had off, we've been doing something, whether it was going somewhere for a Christmas party and people. So just being able to would be good. I'd enjoy it. You all have a fantastic weekend. You'd be surprised how many people do. Like, they get started in Dragon Magic, they find their guardian, and then they ignore it until they find their co-magician, and then they ignore that one, and then they think they can just go on and work with rulers and ignore these two. You'd be surprised. I get emails weekly about why people aren't having, and when they go into it, I'm like, what have you and your guardian and co been working on? Oh, I haven't talked to them in 6 months. Guess what? I found your problem. It amazes me. It really does. All right, everybody. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever you celebrate. Y'all have a good one, and happy holidays. Night.